What's up, you guys? It's Steve here, and finally, breaking news coming out of executive actions and orders announcements for more stimulus. This is your breaking news stimulus check update and stimulus package update. Now, I've got video footage and news articles just coming out today to get you caught up on the latest, and we had heard that this was coming. I'd let you know that the White House, the administration had said that more provisions would be coming either through legislation or executive orders. And if they did do executive orders, there would be a series of them coming out, the first of which would be to forgive student loan debt. Now, I'm going to share with you that this is exactly what they're saying. They have it scheduled for this weekend. And then after that, we're hearing about checks, unemployment, child tax credits, and assortment of other things, of bills hitting the table right now under consideration in Congress. I'm going to get you caught up on all of this, but first, let's take a look at this video footage as they're saying, yes, he is going to do this, but how's this going to be impacting our economy with inflation? Video footage to cover, but first, just take a look at this clip really quick.
It seems to me that if you're dumping that much stimulus back into the economy, it's only going to be adding to the hyperinflation that we're dealing with right now.
Well, I think the other side of that, though, is the people, we talk about whether or not we're really in a recession. Everybody knows we have inflation. But the reality is, I think middle income families in our country already have a recession. This is very, very, very painful to most families in our country. So to be able to give the typical middle class family a bit of a break with regards to the prices and gas where they are and food where they are, transportation where they are, I think that that's a good thing in this era.
So there you have it, you guys, and take a look at these headlines. Biden administration may cancel $10,000 in student loan debt to boost the economy and to help those sagging poll numbers. And yes, I know a lot of people say the motivation should be to help the American people, and they do want to do that, but also it doesn't hurt the fact that it is a midterm election year and those in power want to stay in power, and they'd like to try to incentivize voters to keep them in power. So that is one of the main reasons we're hearing why it's very likely we're going to be seeing executive orders and actions for provisions, seeing legislation proposed. We've heard about stimulus checks and all of these things I'm going to get you caught up on. But take a look. Latest White House plan would forgive $10,000 in student loan debt per borrower. And Biden wanted to announce canceling $10,000 in student loan debt as soon as this weekend. And it would be the first of many to come. Now, we're hearing it is going to be delayed. I'm going to give you all the details in the video footage we're going to be watching in just a second. But also, checks. They have hit the table as well. Look at this. House of Representatives Republican pushing for $1,000 stimulus to all Americans on a federal level. Also, in the Senate, they have proposed $600 fourth federal level check to low-income individuals. So a lot of proposals starting to come back, and we had heard that this was all going to happen. Legislation, executive orders, bills, proposals for more stimulus. Now, in addition to that, we're also hearing about unemployment benefits and that lawsuit coming back for those states that ended those benefits early. And if you missed the details, check it out in my last video. As in Ohio, they're saying there's a possibility that those that got cut off of benefits could be receiving $3,000, 10 weeks worth of missed weekly $300 benefits. And also, right now, as I mentioned, they are talking about what's going to be happening with stimulus provisions through the revised Build Back Better reconciliation bill. Take a look, you guys. Check out my other video if you missed it from earlier today as Senator Joe Manchin. He's in negotiations with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. And also, here on the channel, I'm keeping you up to date not only on federal provisions, but states, cities, and counties that are every day now passing their own checks to send out to their residents, but in some cases, you have to apply. And we're hearing about 90% of those eligible are missing out because they don't know it's available to them. And that's why here on the channel, I'm releasing videos like this, $1,000 per month approved new checks, letting you know the different cities and states and counties that are doing this so you can know about that money and you can make sure that you can get what's available to you. So you guys, let's go ahead and dive into the latest though, get you caught up as to what's going on. Take a look at this video footage. But before we do, if you could do me a quick favor, just takes a second. If you appreciate the updates, don't forget, smash the like button. Helps me out a ton. Thank you so much. Also, leave your comments. Share this out if you think it could help out other people. If there's anybody out there with student loan debt that could use this $10,000. Also, if you want to stay up to date, totally free. Come join the Ram fam. Why not? It's free. Just hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. I'll share with you everything going on. I cite all the sources, put it up on the screen, read right from it so you know it's the latest. And if you got any specific questions for me, shoot it to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. But with that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and dive right in. And let's start off with the video footage of what's unfolding right now with the first of many we're hearing stimulus provisions to come from the White House.
News just in, the Biden administration is planning to cancel $10,000 in student debt per borrower. That is according to sources who spoke with the Washington Post. Two sources said that the latest plans will limit the debt forgiveness to those who earned less than $150,000 individually or $300,000 for married couples filing jointly. The Post says that President Biden had hoped to announce this news this weekend, but those plans changed after this week's school shooting in Texas. We've got somebody with us who maybe can talk a little bit about this right now. Let's bring in Joe Moglia. We're going to talk to him about what's been happening with retail investors, how this is different or the same from what we saw back in the year 2000. But Joe, because you are somebody who also has a lot of experience at Coastal Carolina, at other places where you've taught at higher education places, let me just ask you about this news first. What do you think about the idea of forgiving student loans? And somebody who's worked on both the business side, Merrill Lynch, TD Ameritrade, who has a real good idea about these things, somebody who's seen it at the school level. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, good morning, Becky.
Good morning.
I think, first of all, I don't know how anybody can feel bad if they're going to have part of their loan forgiven. I think one of the things maybe they might want to have considered is instead of doing $10,000, one of doing X amount of percent across the board, so people that have greater debt, could get a little bit more of a bigger break rather than somebody that's got less debt. But I think it's a good idea, and I think the fact that you've got income caps on, I think is a good idea. I think it can only be positive.
What about just the idea of setting this precedent that you take out loans, they're going to be universally forgiven? And there's a whole lot of people who feel like, wait a second, I paid back my loans, and now you're going to ask me as a taxpayer, which these loans aren't forgiven, they don't go away. It's going to be taxpayer debt that bails it out. I paid off my loans, and now I got to pay off somebody else's too?
Well, I think we did this once, and I don't know if we're going to set a precedent. I don't know if we're going to be doing this forever. But I think you make a good point. I mean, you're right. We as taxpayers, in effect, are picking up the bill. But I do think, I feel pretty strongly that, being able to borrow money to be able to go to college is a good thing to be able to do. If you're going to leverage, that's a good reason to do that. And almost everything we do as far as politics go, we talk about people that don't have as much are going to benefit from people that do. So I don't know if we're actually setting precedent. I had to think about that a little bit differently. But I think for now, right now, with where we are, I think it's a good thing.
Let me throw one more thing at you. I mean, it is going to be an inflationary measure. If you are an administration that's most worried about dealing with inflation, I mean, I know you're looking at the lower rungs and wanting to protect them from these things, but it seems to me that if you're dumping that much stimulus back into the economy, it's only going to be adding to the hyperinflation that we're dealing with right now.
Well, I think the other side of that, though, is the people, we talk about whether or not we're really in a recession. Everybody knows we have inflation. But the reality is, I think middle income families in our country already have a recession. This is very, very, very painful to most families in our country. So to be able to give the typical middle class family a bit of a break with regards to the prices and gas where they are and food where they are, transportation where they are, I think that that's a good thing in this era. In this time period.
So there you have it, you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, but it looks like this is going to be happening. The president is going to be making executive orders and actions to cancel out student loan debt. We had heard that this was coming and that a series of other executive orders and actions might be coming as well. Now, we're also hearing that they're working on stimulus bills, provisions, proposals to pass even more, and we'll see if those don't get through. There's going to be even more executive orders and actions, as we've heard of a ton of provisions that are coming, and this is all going to happen, we're hearing, right before these elections. This is the first of many to come, and as they come out, I'll be sure to keep you up to date here on the channel. And as always, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you made it this far and you haven't already, don't forget, smash the like button if you appreciate the updates. If you want to stay up to date, totally free, why not? Come join the Ram fam. I'll let you know everything going on. Just hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. Any specific questions, shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. Consider joining my second channel, Steve Ram Finance, to learn about growing wealth and personal finance. And with that being said, you guys, once again, thank you so much for joining me. and I will catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.